All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a CNCF sponsored project event. So this is recorded. With this event is covered under the guise of the CNCF Code of Conduct. So if you don't want to be recorded, please turn off your camera. You can watch the video later. And let's be nice to everybody. This is Thursday, January 16th, 2025, Helm Developer Meeting. My name is Robert. I'll be your host, and let's get started. We have an announcement from Scott. Scott, the floor is yours.
Great. Yes, so just that version 3.17.0, the most recent feature release of Helm just came out yesterday. And so just as a reminder for folks, the next patch version is scheduled for February 12th. For those who don't know, Helm's on a scheduled release cycle for patch and minor versions. While we're working toward the next major version of Helm, Helm 4. And you can find that at github.com helm/helm/milestones. And then the next major feature release will be in May, mid-May.
And that's 3.18, correct?
Yep.
All right. All right, we'll move over. Any other announcements?
Oh, I should say on that note that this will be, I believe, our last feature release for Helm 3, the one in May. So I believe that's correct. We will have more minor releases, but features will be frozen. I believe that's what Matt Farina was saying he wanted. So everyone work hard and collaborate on the PRs that relate to features.
Okay. So also for maintainers to keep up and look at those PRs for features for 3.118, okay, or 1.18, 1.8. Thank you. All right. Any other?
All of those to the right milestone as well. So we can see those pretty clearly now.
Understood, sir. All right. Any other announcements? All right, we'll move on to discussion. First up, Scott, following up from Ingy's suggestion from last week on pairing, shadowing, issues, triage, and PR. How would folks feel about towards a regular, fortnightly, maybe weekly bug scrub? I do these with Matt. We just kind of team up and we put something on the calendar. So it's a kind of a therapy session for both of us, and we go through it. But personally, if anyone else is doing it, I can tell you it's working because we do it in a small context. So I'll give you the floor back to you, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And just wanted to get folks' thoughts on, pardon me, thoughts on joining together for that. I don't know if the thing that you and Matt do, you'd like, if that's something that is easy for you to schedule. You just kind of catch each other while you have time. But this is
we call it Helm afternoons, and it's just on a SUSE Google Meet, but I don't mind using Zoom. We have it and kind of making it open, but we call it Helm afternoon. We do PR reviews. I ask questions, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
So just I'm more than happy to open that if you guys want, a Helm afternoon session. It is at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern time. So it's just for my European friends, I do apologize. It will be very late for you.
Yeah, so that's the thought. And if there's enough interest from folks who are in a different time zone, we could also add one that's, more EU friendly. But I guess just speak up now or speak up on Slack, and we'll just share that information. This is something that we did with the Flux project. I have to give credit to Kingdon Barrett for that. Basically, he went like pretty over the top and making a spread, kind of a Ruby project that grabbed the GitHub issues and made a spreadsheet of like their statuses and all of that good stuff. I don't know that we need to quite do that, but I do think that if we can do this and raise that, will be this relates to what you were just saying, Robert, about Helm maintainers helping to keep an eye on those features.
Yes, I will. I'll put that as a takeaway. We can do this offline, and I can convert my Helm afternoons over and have that done over Zoom.
Great, thank
Okay.
you. And just like to not to put too fine a point on this, but there's more than just maintainers doing the review. There's all the
Yes.
setup that's required for us to even be able to get to that point. So um, even things like if you don't even know how to, even if you're not familiar yet with the Helm code base, or you don't even write Go or any of that, there are things that you all can do to help. Like literally anyone who's interested in Helm can do to help, including we can get into more of the details after this call, so we can move on with the rest of the agenda. But in short,
Sure.
it relates to things like even like testing if there's a bug. Does it have reproducible steps? Can I help make them if there aren't those? Um, Learning how to build the Helm binary. It's just a simple make command and test from that and all of those things. And we can help you all through that if anyone wants to just join in and kind of collectivize around it. So
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Scott, you and I take that offline. We'll get that all scheduled off.
yep.
Cool. George, can you note that in our notes since you're a note taker, sir? Thank you, sir. All right, next, Scott, we have a very old PR. This is 10309. Geez, this is old. I've linked this in the chat file here. This is actually, I'll let Scott talk about it.
I should have taken this off because I think Matt Farina is not here today.
Okay.
And it's at this point, I don't know that this actually relies on him because the change he asked to make has been made. So I think maybe this is just for any other maintainer. We need another maintainer review on this.
Okay.
That's the
So,
yeah.
all right. So follow up for this very old PR. Can we get any of the? I will try to take a look on one of my next Helm afternoon tomorrow to look at this.
I marked it with an S1 approval, just that, like we should, and so it'll be easy to find.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Next is the wonderful Karen. Karen, you have the floor on an owner's file. The link to the GitHub is in our chat. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I guess I don't really know who's the authority on this. Usually Farina does these. I was just wondering if we could clean up, yeah, like the whoever is listed as owners for Helm dub. I've been going through these, and then YXX Hero is another one of the maintainers that has been actively helping with this. But I do think I see some names that I haven't seen in a while. So I don't know. I'm happy to take this on. I just don't know, like, can I
So,
guess I could. Yeah.
from my perspective, I'd say yes, because it needs to happen. How Matt did it before, he reached out and asked who wants to be moved to emeritus. And so I was, our afternoon was him, writing those emails and messaging these people and kind of cleaned up the list. If you need to put another maintainer on to help, let me know. I'm more than happy to, do it. And Scott's shaking his head. I think he's volunteering too. There he
Wait,
is.
so it sounds like this was started and like there's some sort of status that I should check in with though, right? And like don't restart the process.
Well,
Okay.
he did it for Helm Core.
Oh, okay.
So that's the process he followed. You'll
Okay.
probably want to do the same process. You
Gotcha.
reach out to so and so, see if they want it.
Okay.
But if the list gets too low, Scott and I are more than happy to jump in and assist because we love this project.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, because Scott had asked about getting listed and I'd love to have you as well because there have been lots of language translations that are really huge PRs. Okay, great. I'll take that action item. Thank you. I'm done.
My German's not that good, but I will give my all. All right, we're gonna move
How's your
into
French?
On this one, I'm also willing to be a maintainer of Helm WWW. I don't know if I just get to volunteer myself, but if that helps.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
by the way, the process just is that like for any of these projects, it's in the governance, but just a quick summary that like on the public Helm mailing list, nominations happen, and then voting happens amongst the current maintainers of each sub project of Helm or sub team. So in this case, whoever's currently in that file in the private mailing list.
All right. Angie, I believe, yep. Angie, you're up next. A very quick update on Helm YS and Schema YS. Sir, the floor is yours.
Pronounced Helmwise and Schema-wise. And so when I showed you guys Helmwise back in November, after that, I showed it at KubeCon, and then I started working with a guy I met named Chris Sanders, who works at Replicated with Evans and Scott. And Scott just started in. Chris recommended that I talk to Scott, so I talked to him last week about Helmwise. I showed it to him, and he told me a bunch of stuff about Helm that I didn't know. So I'm hoping to get that updated. And back when we talked about having a session that wasn't the session where I showed you guys kind of in detail how Helmwise works. And then recently, in the last week, it's always been on my docket to have a schema language for YAML. And I was able to very successfully put one together last week using YAML script. And so now I wanted to start applying it to YAML things that Helm users and Kubernetes users use. So I'm gonna, I reached back out to Chris, who he hands me all the, the craziest stuff that you don't normally see in the documentation. And so I'm hoping to give more in-depth updates on both of those projects moving forward, and that's me.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Evans, address automatic chart caching security concerns. GitHub, I'm not going to even say it. I will just post it in the chat here. Evans, floor is yours, sir.
Thanks. So there is, I was looking at a case, an issue that was raised regarding automatically caching when you run Helm dependency build. That fails, and when you run Helm dependency update, that sort of automatically caches any charts that are not present, whose repos are not present in the Helm repo list. So if you've not added a Helm repo and you run Helm dependency update, you'll still get the chart that's there. So it happens behind the scenes. And there's a comment there that was made by Matt several years ago, related to the security concerns around that. And because you can have you want users to explicitly add their repos that they would like to pull charts from. So those are security concern. And the question here is, in Helm 4, do we intend to remove that feature completely, or are we looking to address those security concerns in some way and have that sort of looked at now? So I guess it's a question to the group rather than this is what.
I would have to take a deeper look at it personally. I haven't been able to, I've been busy as of late. So I think if we can do, I want to speak on behalf of all the maintainers, but this seems like it could be a deeper issue. George, Scott, Karen, thoughts?
So help me understand, so they want to allow Helm dependency update to work without a Helm repo add, or Helm dependency update does work without and does cache? It does. Okay.
And the implementation that added that capability has a comment there that stating that feature will be reviewed in Helm 4. And well, we're in Helm 4 now. It will be reviewed because of, there's a security concern there. You're just pulling stuff from repositories you didn't add yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should think about this as in there's no concept of Helm repo add for OCI.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, I think we should just think through the details. I do agree that Helm did have at one point the note you should explicitly add your dependency lists. But I do think we should align it with OCI, which doesn't have this concept. Maybe there's something which Matt can think about or knows about, which does make Helm repos, the traditional repos, more of a security risk than say OCI. So yeah, I think it's just probably worth discussing on the issue and trying to go through all the details.
I just wanted to look at one thing I was kind of holding off on, but did you discuss the skip refresh option of that command?
Yeah, that has been discussed there, skip refresh, and so the issue itself we have there is this automatically caching charts is present in all commands but Helm dependency build. Now, someone wants it added. Well, that support added, but if there's no point in adding it there if the entire concept will be removed. So that conversation needs to be had before even considering adding that.
All right, so I'm going to inject here. I think this needs to have a larger conversation. And so if we can take this one offline, maybe move it to one of the Helm turn-ins that we're going to put together, just so we can have a deeper conversation about this. This is only 30 minutes and we have some new faces. I want to make sure we can get them some time if that's okay. Evans, good. All right.
I'd also, before I move on, I'd like to suggest that this might be good as a HIP because it is a discussion about like changing behavior of Helm dependency.
Okay.
I can start that.
Okay.
All right. We'll jump down just a little bit here. Tomas, review of a PR in here. I'm not going to call it us. Tomas, are you here? No, Tomas is not on. All right. Next would be George, Aura's V2 PR. George, floor is yours, sir.
If any other maintainers have a chance to re-review this PR, it's gone through review a few times, and then related to my next item, it keeps on getting kind of like blocked by Go mod dependencies changing and stuff, and then needs to be updated and then reapproved, and then finding another approver and stuff like that. So if anybody has time before it goes stale again, that'd be awesome.
Fair. Duly noted. Let's just move on. Kai, are you here?
Yeah.
List. Kai, the merging values merging, how to contribute. What's your questions?
Yeah, it's my first time here, so hi everybody.
Welcome.
I'm Kai from Germany. At my day job, I'm working with Helm all the time, and I got knee deep into working with merging, coalescing, patching Helm values. And I've seen there's some work going on for version 4, like reworking some kind of that. And my question is, who to talk to, how best to contribute in this area. So I've seen there's some Google Doc floating around. Yeah, who can help me with getting started with all the processes? I'm new to the Helm community.
Sure.
It sounds like Helm tour afternoons. Maybe you could just lurk on those.
Yeah, so when I get the Helm turn-ins out, we'll put it out. It'll probably use the same Zoom bridge because it'll probably be safer. And then it'll just join that, and we'll just have a perfect time. That's how I got ramped up pretty fast with Matt. Just reviewing and getting started. And if you want to set some time, we can work on a one-on-one if you'd like. So you can find me in the Slack channel. I'm really approachable there. Just because I look scary doesn't mean I am.
That's very true.
I'm going to drop 2 links in the chat as well. Main one is the contributing doc. That's like the very first entry point inside of the Helm community repo. And then I want to also, because of the emphasis of what we talked about at the very beginning and what Robert just mentioned, there's a HIP for a Helm triage maintainer. And I just wanted to mention that this is not just a carrot for folks to work toward, but it's also explaining why we actually need more people to help with triage, whether or not you end up liking that process and want to work toward potentially becoming a Helm triage maintainer. That'll give some more meat on the bone there. So I'm dropping those links, and thank you.
Thanks, Scott. All right. Austin, yours, I don't know if something got moved in there, but you were on. Austin, this is your PR 13617. The floor is yours.
Sweet. Yeah, and the PR, like I still needed to actually fix the tests, but first wanted to kind of get the maintainer's thoughts of exposing the root command. This would essentially allow you to embed Helm into other root commands or execute Helm from Go with the command .execute. ORAS recently did something like this. I know kubectl allows you to kind of or kubectl exports the root command. It does add an additional thing that Helm is not exporting. I don't know if this is tip worthy or.
This was discussed some time ago, I think.
Yeah, it was.
I'm trying to remember the conclusions. The things that come to mind immediately are like just as long as we can change things. If we export the root commands and then we can't change our CLI because it'll change people's downstream, like it'll break people downstream, then that'll be super frustrating for the Helm project, of course.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's actually a thing, but things like this come to mind.
Yeah, I will say the reason I want it is I'm a maintainer of a project called Zarf, and it's an air-gapped Kubernetes tool and embeds a lot of tools. Basically, we want to just mimic the Helm behavior. We want people to be able to use Helm like within our Zarf binary. For when they're in the air gap, we want our tool to be kind of an all-in-one people to do that. I imagine that's like would be most people's expectation is like I'm just using the current version of Helm. And as long as the command new root command is still exported and like doesn't change the function signature there, which I guess that kind of ties you into Cobra. I think would be maybe the biggest concern, assuming people are reasonable.
I don't think there's any plans of moving from Cobra. So that's okay.
It'd be tough.
Yeah, I mean, offhand, I can't think of any reason why not to. I do remember there's quite a large PR because it's just a lot of files moving around. Is that right?
I mean, yeah, it's I'm changing like all the files. We're moving them from command to packaged command or whatever, and then changing the package name. And then I'll have to fix some tests on command. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. The only thing is we may want to write this explicitly into our backwards compatibility guarantee HIP. We should probably go see what it says. And just as like a formality.
Okay, yeah. So like there's an existing backwards compatibility HIP, and then we'll make a PR to that saying like, hey, this will always be the current version of Helm when exported.
Yep.
Cool.
I think my comment here on this is maybe not exposing all the sub commands, maybe just the root command.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Because then now the entire command package is under package command. Because now you've moved all the files. Anyway, that's a comment on the heap on the.
Yeah, and yeah. Well, the last thing, it's only the only exported new function will be the new root command. All the other functions are still moved there, but they're not exported.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Just anecdotally, as a maintainer, if it's not passing a test, we don't generally look at it first.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Like, you got a red check, and I'm like, that's probably why none of us really look at it. So just, but now that you came, we can put some. I'll pull it down and take a look at it, and I'll add it to tomorrow's Helm Turnoon.
Cool. And once I fix the test, I'll put it in chat.
Cool. All right, we are running out of time. George, you got something on conflicts?
This will hopefully be quick. So Dependabot makes a whole bunch of Go mod up there. Yeah, it's its job. It does a good job. Unfortunately, if anybody else has a PR which touches Go mod update, it tends to cause conflicts. Or has a high chance of causing conflicts. And then so you end up in this annoying cycle, like we get a bunch of dependency updates, they get merged, all these other PRs need to be rebased. Any existing reviews get wiped away, and then the process of like gathering people around to review and approve happens again, and then some more dependency updates come around. So the proposal here is basically, do you think it's worth only merging updates from Dependabot at like a certain time, like I don't know, every Friday to pick one, or the start of the month, or I don't know, up to I can write something up as a more formal thing, but if people like this idea, or if I think it's just
quickly, I like the idea because we don't, as maintainers, we periodically get to those PRs to approve them. So maybe it makes sense to kind of, all right, gentlemen, and ladies, let's all sit down, let it run, let's review everything, get it in there, and then not have this done. So if it needs to be a HIP, I'm okay with contributing to that.
Okay.
All right.
I second the schedule. It sounds helpful. I wouldn't. One note: I wouldn't want to be super strict on that because there are cases where we need to do
Oh, yeah, certainly. If someone needs to do a security update, then we should just do it. Like,
Well, it's not only security, but even just for like preparing for a release. Just
Oh, yeah.
I would say like we write exceptions in there about the schedule. But yeah, I love the idea.
Okay.
All right. So we are, I want to be respectful for everyone's time here. So we have, what, 1 minute left according to my clock. So let's try to do, Austin, do apologize, but your H4 hip wait for case status, can we bump that till next week so we can give you an enough time to speak to it?
Yeah, totally fair.
Awesome. Thank you
I
very
will
much.
spend some time reviewing it as well. It's on my list.
Okay, sweet.
All right. All right. So assignments for next call. Moderator, who do we have? Volunteers.
Okay.
George, floor. Notes?
I can
I
help with
think I can.
this.
Oh, go for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Issue triage. Evans, you got that down? You're the man. PR, I got myself, Scott, George, you guys good?
Yep.
Awesome. Maintainers for next present, I believe it's all of us. All right. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Do appreciate it. Want to be respectful for everyone's time. And Kai, find me on Slack, and we'll set up some time. Usually up early because most of my employees are in Europe, so I'd love to chat.
Just real quick, Scott Rigby, are you on Kubernetes Slack?
I am.
That's all. Okay. Well, answer me. Bye.
Okay.
All right. Thanks everybody. Bye.
But